and start recording. And Terry, I'm turning it over to you. Everyone put your computer on mute, please.
And Connie, before you go to mute, as president, I do want to say thank you so very much for this opportunity to present this presentation to the Rotary Club of Madison County. And just to give you a little bit of information, this is the annual report, and it's based upon a presentation that I actually gave to the Madison County Commissioners. It is modified from their version, and I've aligned your report that I'm presenting with our strategic plan. And so I'm looking forward to sharing this with you and to hear your questions as well. So thank you for this opportunity. And because I don't see anyone waving at me, I'm assuming that you can see my screen and you can hear me, and there's not a lot in the chat. So I'm going to continue until I finish. So again, this is the Economic Development Yearly Report presented on behalf of the Community and Economic Development Department of Madison County. So this report is based upon the Madison County Strategic Plan. It was the first plan that was created in Madison County specifically for economic development. And so immediately we began implementing in this plan in 2020. It was adopted and created using the help of the Madison County Commissioners. So I do want to acknowledge them publicly for their help on this vision, as well as the opportunity to serve Madison County. So to begin with, our economic development plan has a vision of what we would like to be. It's very aspirational. People of all ages will find themselves at home in Madison County, North Carolina. Madison County is a place where people can earn a good living while having the choices and resources available in the community to achieve a high quality of life. Private investment in the county is embraced, and growth is planned in a way that encourages upward mobility while preserving the county's rural identity, strong sense of community, and exceptional natural resources. So this strategic plan has three primary goals. And the first one is a development strategic goal. And with that, it says we would develop and implement a vision for planned growth and development. One of the objectives is to update the 2010 Comprehensive Plan for Growth and Development for Madison County to include an analysis of the resources and follow-up steps necessary for implementation. And under that, we said we would encourage an annual joint meeting of key county boards pertaining to growth and development. And so the Economic Development Board actually convened a meeting jointly with the Madison County Commissioners, and that was the first time that had happened in Madison County. And part of that meeting agenda was to create an economic vision for Madison County. Another objective, facilitate urgent discussions with the leadership of the county and 3 towns to increase the capacity of adequate water and sewer services. And what we did in 2020 was we hosted Tom Hardy, who is from the Metropolitan Sewage District in Buncombe County, to talk about their experience of bringing towns and cities together in order to have one service on behalf of the region or the area. Buncombe County and parts of Henderson County are served by the Metropolitan Sewage District. So we talked to him about what was that process like, what was their funding sources, how they're working with the oversight of the programs to ensure that every stakeholder has a voice in that process. And so he was able to guide us on some of the things that we can pursue in the future. We also hosted the towns in Madison County and allowed them to give a water and sewer presentation on their current systems and what they need in the future. As a staff member, I completed a grant for $300,000 to the Appalachian Regional Commission on behalf of the town of Marshall. Due to existing issues within Marshall, they chose not to go forward with this particular grant, but it did start the work on some of the work that's necessary to expand the system. I wrote a letter of support for the town of Mars Hill's infrastructure grant to the Appalachian Regional Commission, which they were afforded, which will provide an opportunity for an expansion of the existing infrastructure to allow for more economic development in Mars Hill specifically. And so more information will come forward in the future about what they're planning. The next objective, continue efforts that foster the expansion of reliable and affordable high-speed internet throughout Madison County through local financial support of grant opportunities and partnerships with private providers and other governmental entities. I do want to let you know, as an educational component, in the state of North Carolina, counties and towns cannot provide internet services on their own. They have to partner with for-profit or nonprofit entities to provide that services, and that's by general statute. So in Madison County, we have made partnerships that have been successful for Madison County. So we collaborated with community partners to expand our broadband options for the residents of Madison County. Our partners include French Broad Electric Membership Corporation, North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, the Land of the Sky Regional Council, and the Broadband Committee. These partnerships have yielded the following. Our collaboration with French Broad EMC staff, they have actually written grants to federal and state governments. And as a result, Madison County has invested, in order to support those grants, $140,000 to ensure the success of the grant applications and expanded services. And so we've seen increased services in western and northern parts of Madison County. We also partnered with them on other projects. But I think it's important to point out the work that we have done by ourselves. I think Connie mentioned how quickly that the Rotary Club of Madison County was able to adjust or pivot when it came to COVID. And so for Madison County government, we were able to do the same. And so we were able to provide hotspots for students who attended Madison County schools within 10 days of the pandemic being announced. And so on March 24th, 2020, the superintendent of schools was picking up hotspots on behalf of the students in order for them to get the services that they need, and it was paid for by Madison County. Madison County government also is developing a free downtown Wi-Fi project in Hot Springs. We've supported the downtown Wi-Fi projects in Marshall and Mars Hill with nearly $60,000. Again, Marshall has chosen not to move forward on their initiative. However, at the time of the planning in 2020, Madison County was supportive of the grants that were submitted and approved for those projects. And I'm really proud to say that the downtown Wi-Fi project in Hot Springs is in place, and now we're just testing and making sure everything is working properly and with the appropriate system. We also gave $15,000 to the Mars Hill Anderson Rosenwald rehabilitation process to reduce the digital divide. And this is a picture from the downtown Hot Springs Wi-Fi project, where the maintenance staffs and the installer have met, and I asked for proof that they were working and that it actually met. And so they sent this picture to show we are in fact collaborating on this effort. Additionally, we developed a broadband committee. This is the first time that Madison County has had a broadband committee that is comprised of representatives from various sectors, including the public sector, the private sector, the healthcare sector, education, and we have a representative from the North Carolina Department of Information Technology and the community. The committee is assisting to increase the number of residents who complete the North Carolina Department of Information Technology survey and speed test. That is one of the priorities that we put in place. And as a result, the committee was formed formally by the Madison County Commissioners in October, began their work in November. And as a result, we have been able to increase the number of people who have taken the North Carolina broadband survey. According to the survey data from yesterday, 1,153 residents of Madison County has taken the speed test. And why is this important? We're trying to get an accurate map of where service is in Madison County, how fast the service is in Madison County, how much people are paying for the services, as well as where there is no internet services at all. And according to the information that was provided as of yesterday, there are 43 individuals who has reported that they have no internet services at all. And so if you would like, at the end of this presentation, we can dive into these numbers a little bit more in order for me to explain to you what this survey is doing and why it's so important. Another thing that we've done is we've partnered with the Laurel community, which is a nonprofit organization, of course, in the Laurel area. What I'm really proud about is we have a public-private partnership. The leadership of the Laurel community met with the former county manager, a couple of county managers back, about their need to improve services for the residents in the Laurel community. And I was really proud that at the time, Mr. Gilliam asked me to work with the representatives from the committee to say, how do we begin to work with them in a way that's going to help them grow their ability to do professional development and improve and make sure that they're growing sustainably and financially the way they need to, not the way the county wants them to. So it's a great partnership. And so I met with them to hear their vision. And what I did was I introduced to them a foundation. I said, here's a foundation that will support your work. And I guided them on how to apply and gave them information, but they actually did the work. They wrote the grant. They presented their case for support. And as a result, they received a $50,000 grant. And that $50,000 grant is helping them to implement services that they want within their community, including providing computer access. They have a partnership with French Broad EMC. French Broad is providing them services where they're able to actually have the opportunity to have Wi-Fi access, but the grant provided them the computers that they needed in order for them to provide services to the residents within the community. And as a result, they've been able to provide, a computer lab that's available for individuals to use, as well as support some academic services that they wanted to have within the community. And so I would recommend you have an opportunity to hear a presentation from them to hear the good work that they're currently doing and have been doing. Our partnerships have garnered $10,306,939 in grant funds that have helped to expand and bring high-speed internet access to Madison County residents. The next strategic goal is based upon economic development. And it says, we will support the creation of increasingly diverse employment opportunities that provide livable wages. And the objective under that goal is to encourage and support the expansion and retention of existing businesses and industries in the county. And one of the things that we did in 2020 is to assist with Buchi Kombucha's expansion. And so we facilitated the completion of the grant they had received from the North Carolina Building Reuse Program, as well as the One North Carolina NC Fund. And I'm really proud of the work that they have been able to complete. We ensured that the company met their requirements. Originally, when they signed the agreement with the state of North Carolina and the Madison County Commissioners, they said that they would hire 28 residents of Madison County. I'm happy to report they've expanded that number and actually have hired over 50 individuals who are serving our community and who are currently and still employed full-time with Buchi Kombucha. We also supported van conversions, which is a smaller business that moved from Buncombe County to Madison County. We assisted them in finding locations to consider, provided information on economic development incentives, and provided information about their business to potential partners. We serve as a liaison, and that's important to make sure that business and industry have support and are intermediaries in order to deal with regulations from the Madison County offices, as well as the state of North Carolina. We provide economic development incentive and grant information to each of our manufacturers, whether they're active in our economic development or not. We are actually supporting them as much as we can with providing information to them and opportunities for them to expand. We provided North Carolina incentive information for Jonathan Zooks for his international clients. So as he was traveling or talking to individuals at the earlier part in 2020, he was able to talk to his international clients about their needs of moving to the United States. And so we provided them information on the opportunities in North Carolina and more specifically in Madison County. We met with leaders from Boyle Industry and Capitola about their company and potential investment opportunities. And so with those specific industries, we were able to meet, take tours to hear about issues that they were encountering and provide opportunities and resources for them to consider. We worked 7 months on Project Gemini with an international company. Unfortunately, it did not happen that company moved to Madison County, but it gave us an opportunity to look at the inventory of economic development needs, as well as how we can begin to plan more successful projects and site development plans in order to attract international companies to Madison County. Provided information to Mitch Hampton for a company in California looking to move to North Carolina, more specifically, Madison County. We began conversations with regional leaders about potential economic development partnerships. While we are members of collaborations that are occurring across this region, we're looking at developing more partnerships with local communities in order to see how we can be able to share best practices and work together to increase economic development opportunities, specifically in Madison County. I'm really proud of the relationship that I've created and have been a part of with Carolina West. Carolina West is a collaboration of 7 counties in the West, and we get together on a monthly basis to talk about the opportunities for economic developments in our counties. In 2019, when I began working in Madison County, I started going to the meetings and we were beginning to look at our investments and how we're investing our money as a collaborative in talking about our communities. One of the things I'm really excited about is that right here, you'll see this is generally how we were advertising our region. And one of the things that I was able to bring to the conversation was the fact that this could be anywhere Western North Carolina. It's not Madison County, it's not Buncombe County, it's not Mitchell County specifically. You can't tell which beautiful county it is. And so I asked that we transfer our focus into looking at what each community can bring when it comes to workforce development and how we have a lot to offer. And so I had them transform our marketing materials, and this is done in collaboration with the Asheville Regional Airport, and it was created prior to COVID, and this is a marketing tool that we put in the airport because we have a lot of business individuals who come in the airport. And so we changed how we looked at how do we market our area to ensure it really meets the needs of a site selector, so that if they're traveling into the community, we want them to know we have a strong workforce. And so I was happy to be able to transform their thinking on how we do business and how we promote our business. The next objective under economic development, ensure access to skills-based job training at all educational levels for in-demand jobs in Madison County and the region. So specifically support the expansion of pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs within the business and nonprofit sectors. And to do that, we were able to write letters of support for additional funds to support apprenticeship programs. We supported the Mountain Area Workforce Development Board's grant to the United States Department of Labor's Youth Apprenticeship Readiness Grant Program. We supported the Mountain Area Workforce Development Board's Transform Education and Change How Western North Carolina Works grant. And we hosted a pre-apprenticeship luncheon prior to COVID in early 2020. And I want to point out, Madison County Community and Economic Development Department is a person of one, and I work with partners in order to achieve the goals that are necessary outside of the areas that I am able to do on a daily basis. And workforce development is something that I cannot do by myself. And so that's why I supported these grant initiatives to show our support and the need within Madison County for pre-apprenticeship programs in order to support our students getting the skills that they need in order to move into the workforce upon graduation. The next objective, support efforts to develop a stronger entrepreneurial ecosystem that encourages local innovation and investment. And this was a focus in 2020. And so this is a response related to COVID-19. So one of the things that happened within my department, I researched and developed and implemented a new grant fund in response to COVID-19's impact on small businesses. I reviewed 27 grant applications, recommended 17 for funding, and we were able to allocate $73,441.09 to locally owned and operated businesses in Madison County. I partnered with Mountain BizWorks for the creation and implementation of the Madison County Small Business Loan Fund. And I'm really happy to have community supporters like the Madison County Rotary Club and the Madison County Chamber of Commerce to have helped that initiative. I'm proud of the fact that when we found out that the pandemic was happening and it was announced, I was able to work with Simone Boyer, the Madison County Chamber of Commerce, to develop a COVID-19 webpage. Simone and I emailed each other in the very beginning stages, and we talked about the need to have a resource page for small businesses on the chamber's website because I felt like the chamber's members would go there seeking information. And so I worked successfully with Simone to make that happen. I kept our social media updated, provided information via the Economic Development newsletter. And if you haven't received that and would like to be on our mailing list, please let me know at the end of the presentation. I'm going to provide you the avenue to be able to make that happen. Contacted local businesses and companies to gather information and provide information about services. I developed surveys and worked with others to develop surveys to gather information from local business owners regarding their needs. I participated in surveys to provide information that was gathered from the business owners in Madison County to help galvanize support at the public policy level beyond Madison County for state stakeholders as well as federal stakeholders by providing information to various business groups as well as different governmental agencies. I continue to participate in the Land of the Sky Regional Council's COVID-19 weekly update calls. And if you like information about that, I can provide that at the end of this presentation. The next strategic community development goal was under community development. And what we said is we want to develop, maintain, expand initiatives that increase the quality of life for the residents and visitors of Madison County. And one of the objectives is to research and pursue suitable funding sources to increase support for child care and youth development programs within the county with appropriate partners. So I've been working with the Madison County Partnership for Children and the Mayor of Hot Springs on creating a plan for child care services in Madison County, specifically Hot Springs. We've developed a survey to determine the child care needs in Western Madison County. And so we sent this survey to the residents of the Hot Springs area. We placed it in social media in order to get information as it related to the child care needs. We also were able to work with the manufacturer in Hot Springs to see what their employees were needing related to child care services. We continued the expansion of the Madison County Manufacturing Art Park. This is a program that began in 2017. Madison County received a Community Foundation of Western North Carolina grant specifically for 5 statues to be developed along the Madison County Manufacturing Art Park, which is on the Duck Greenway in Mars Hill. In 2018, you all installed the initial installment called the Mars Cutter, and that's this one here. In 2019, we were able to do a new one, which is called the Timekeeper. And so what we've done in the last little bit, this is more than just 2020, we were able to submit the grant reports for the Community Foundation for the 2018 installation that was done in 2019 to do all the paperwork that needed to be done to make sure that they knew that that was completed. We requested the funds for 2019's installation, and in 2020, we completed all the updates that were necessary, and we began the RFP, or request for proposal process, for the 2020 process, as well as the 2021, which will be 2 new installations that will occur in 2021. So currently, the staff is coordinating 2 projects to keep the projects on track for 2020. The reason the 2020 statute was not actually implemented is because of COVID. We did have some delays. However, we are on track to have another installation in 2021. And so we are working with the 2020 Manufacturing Art Park artists, and we just accepted proposals for the 2021 sculpture. And this is a picture of the Timekeeper. It's in honor of Print Pack. And so we have the staff in this picture of Print Pack. And so we have, this was a great day for installation, and they're standing on a concrete pad. And if you were to look closely, you would see the handprints of the students from Mars Hill Elementary School who actually helped put their handprint and stamp on the concrete as part of the art. What else have we done? We've supported grants and actually co-authored grants. We work with the funding partners, the innovative funding partners, to submit a $199,000 grant to the Environmental Protection Agency to do some brownfield assessments, to look at some property that need to be we need to have it assessed and see if there are any remedies that we need to do in order for economic development to continue to thrive on that piece of property. We began to work on a $900,000 coronavirus community development block grant. Because we didn't have a capital improvement plan in place in order to move swiftly, we were not able to submit the grant. However, we continued the work in order for us to be ready in the future if other opportunities arise. Again, we supported letters. We wrote letters in support of French Broad Electric Membership Corporation's infrastructure grants to the Appalachian Regional Commission and the GREAT Grant Program, which is a North Carolina-based program. We also supported the Madison County Arts Council National Endowment of the Arts Grant Program. The Economic Development Advisory Board, I'm really happy that Connie is a member of that board, and she knows that that board works really hard. Even during COVID, they met and exceeded the number of times that they are required to meet by our bylaws. And so as a volunteer board, they met 7 times in 2020, and they're authorized to meet every other month. That would have been 6 times. And this does not include committee meetings that they also attended. And so again, the Madison County Economic Development Advisory Board, they assisted with the development of the Economic Development Plan. They met with the Madison County Commissioners, developed the Manufacturing Art Park Committee, supported the Small Business Loan Program, created the Madison County Policy Council, and that's a legislative part of the Economic Development Board that really focuses on advocating for legislation changes and funding for Madison County. That's my presentation. I'm available to answer questions, and I hope it didn't go too fast, but I was trying to give you all time to ask me as many questions as you'd like.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Terry. So we learned a long time ago that in schools for hearing impaired, hearing impaired, hearing impaired, I said that wrong. This is how they clap so that you can visually see how they clap. So thank you very much, Terry. I do see 4 or 5 hands that have gone up, and then I have to go to the other screen, but I will, there's another one, that's a 6th one. So I am going to go down the line, and hopefully our questions can be quick and the answers so we can get as many in as possible. I'll start with Robert Allen.
First of all, congratulations on your PhD, Dr. Bellamy. That's really neat and not easily done. So glad to see you're moving along here. What a pile of accomplishments you have. Anyway, I was just you mentioned how the broadband expansion is a big part of your focus, and I'm just wondering. I work remotely for doing technical work, and Madison County is just a wonderful place to be able to do that from. I wonder if you're tracking that kind of economic development, because it is employment in the county, but it isn't going to show up as an industry being here. But with COVID, many more companies are much more open to people working remotely. And I'd like to see more of the current residents of Madison County be able to leverage that, as well as promoting Madison County as an attractive place for technical people to locate.
And part of the work that, first, let me say thank you so very much for your kind remarks. I sincerely appreciate that. And it's an educational leadership doctorate, so I appreciate the EDD. And so if it's okay, Connie, is it okay if I share my screen one more time about the broadband survey so people can see what data we're capturing and why? And so part of the issue is we do want to know what types of businesses are operating that are home-based in order for us to be able to support the expansion of that industry or sector, as well as support them having access to internet services. Is it okay if I share again?
Yes, absolutely. We should sing the Jeopardy song.
And this one is a little bit different because it's going to be on the internet services. And so for this one, I will have to go to the state's internet portal. And so just give me a second. because they are the ones who created the survey that we were using. And because of that, we were able to get information about, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you should see a map of North Carolina. Is it okay?
Yep.
So since we started, and since we've been in this presentation, another person has done a survey. So in the state of North Carolina, the broadband survey that we are promoting, and Connie, I can send you the link to this so that the members can also take the survey.
Awesome.
It gives you information that all of North Carolina is being encouraged to do the survey. Western North Carolina is really pushing it right now because there are so many people who are in fact working from home, in addition to students working from home. And so Madison County is leading the effort. We're at 10.9%. And so we're setting the bar as it relates to participation in this survey. And so when we look at Madison County specifically, and because my screen will change, please make sure you, Connie, if you will let me know if you actually see the changes in the screen, because I want to make sure you're tracking with me as it relates to being able to see the numbers change. And so do you see the map of just Madison County?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, when you go and you actually take the survey, it will ask specific questions about the services that you're receiving, whether you have cellular service, whether you have broadband. It asks those specific questions. Do you see that it's asking you about what type of services, the internet services you have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and so these are the questions that we want. And with this information, we are able to see how fast your services are and the quality of services that you're receiving. And as you were talking about the information about small businesses, the more we see that you're getting the faster services that you need and not the slower ones that you are receiving, we are looking to improve these numbers so that we can see increases in the number of people who are getting the quality of services that they need to be able to maintain a small business in their home. So yes, we're tracking that information. We're just doing it a little differently. And so that's why we're encouraging people to take the survey in order for us to have the data to show why this is so important. Not just we have people working at home. We need the data to show that support. So yes, we will continue to monitor that issue.
Right. And thank you, Terry, for that.
Thank you.
Reminder to send that out to the Rotary Club members. I'll get that. Sandy, hopefully we can get it in the bulletin for next week. It's a super easy survey to do. I know the chamber has also been promoting it with everyone. So let's make sure that if you haven't done it already, you do it so that Terry has the data she needs. Okay. So we have, I see that the top row right now on my screen has all got their hands up. I'm going to switch to a guest named Carl. Carl, if you'd like to unmute and ask your question, and then we have several Rotarians that I'll move to next.
Hey, good morning, and thank you, Terry, for making this presentation this morning. I have two questions. I guess I'll ask them right up front here. You know, your economic development plan, is that, plan available on either the Madison County Gov site or your Invest Madison County site? That was my first question. And my second question has to do, there is a comprehensive plan that was drafted in 2010 that's the purview of the planning board. And it has some topics that I'm pretty certain overlap with yours. And I wonder if there's going to be a move afoot to unify them, either in the comprehensive plan to take out the references to the strictly economic stuff and reference yours. So those are my two questions, and thank you.
Thank you for Carl. Thank you for the question. One, the plan isn't available online. However, I can make it available if you like. I can send it to you. Next, yes, I do understand that I did reference the 2010 plan in the presentation, and a couple of things about that. In 2020, we started the work in the economic development plan in 2019 when I first got here, but it was something that the Madison County Economic Development Board has started prior to me getting here. I picked it up and we were able to complete it. What we did in 2019 was create a quick plan that had really short-term goals. because in 2020, we started talking to 2019, 2020, we started talking about the need for the revision of the comprehensive plan because Madison County hadn't done the work on that plan. And of course, that was with the then county manager who no longer is here. And so when he left, other priorities and COVID happened. But we were looking at funding entities to help pay for the plan because it's pretty pricey, but it is a priority. And we also didn't have a planning and zoning director. And so we felt like getting a planning and zoning director in place, getting the county manager in place, getting some funding in place, that will help us get a comprehensive plan. And so there is a goal. And then when I send you the document, it speaks to actually partnering with the planning and zoning department in order to address land use planning issues as well as economic development issues. So I'll get that to you, Carl.
Okay, well, thank you very much again.
And I will need your email address. And so if you could put it in chat or send it to
Sure.
Connie in order to be able to get that to you.
Okay, all right. And I'll switch over to the 4 Rotarian questions. First, I'll start with Mike and Sandy because I think I saw your hand go up really, really fast.
Yeah, thanks for that great presentation, Terry. I've got, as you know, Rotary has got a pretty intense focus on youth in this county. So I got 2 questions that are related to that. The first one is you talked about hotspots that have been set up, and a lot of that is useful for youth to be able to do their schoolwork if they don't have internet at home. So my first question is, do you have any data that relates to the usage of hotspots, particularly by kids that are trying to do schoolwork? That's question 1. Question 2 is, you mentioned somewhere along your presentation there that you were working with different youth development programs in the county. And I'm just wondering if you have a comprehensive list of what those are, because we would like to partner with some of them if we can find some common ground.
Okay, and the first question, I could get you the actual number of hotspots the county actually paid for in 2020. I would like to acknowledge that because the governor provided more funding for hotspots, the school as of this year, 2021, shifted to use the state of North Carolina's hotspots because they have more access. They have more bandwidth or capacity for students to be able to use their services, and they will be able to use them for longer periods of time. Just as a matter of process is that for our Wi-Fi services, we actually took them up during the summer in order for us to save money. And then we gave them back on August 17th, turned them back on. And then we finished, providing that service in December and started it back in January. And so the state has a program now in place that wasn't in place at the time that will allow the school system to have more capacity. And so they have more numbers. And so we've shifted. So I'm not sure how many are currently receiving services via the hotspots, but I can tell you what we had in 2020. And as it relates to I don't have a comprehensive list, but I can provide you the service partners I'm coordinating with now. Like I'm meeting today with Paige, and they have a project that's coming up working with the Morris Hill Anderson Rosenwald School. That's going to be a summer project for them. And so I'll be happy to send you what I have. And of course, I'm working with the career technical education teachers at the high school in order to make sure that they have some services. So I'm happy to provide you a list of the services that I'm providing and who my partners are.
Awesome, thank you. Sandy, before I move off of you, Mike.
Mike,
Oh, the second question, did both of those questions get answered? Yeah, I think they did. Sorry, Sandy, did you have something?
No, I'm done.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. So Tom Panic, I think you are next, and then we'll go Sebastian and Patricia. Jim Gregory, you physically raised your hand, so I don't know if you had a question, but Tom?
Sure. First, I want to say that I'm really glad that we have gotten someone of your caliber to come into the county and organize these things and get us moving forward with something that seems like a definite strategic plan for the future. And I'm impressed with what you've done so far in the short time that you've been here. That being said, I know that your focus is on business, but a big part of the county here is the beauty and the wilderness and the preservation and development of those assets of the county also. Are there agencies or foundations or anyone that you're also partnering with in order to work with the business and the environmental communities at the same time?
There are. I didn't report on those specifically because they were not connected to the Economic Development Advisory Board. But yes, I do work like with nonprofit organizations based in Buncombe who serve Madison County, and we're looking at opportunities for environmental enhancement. We're looking for issues related to the bridge replacement in Hot Springs and what will happen with the old bridge and what could potentially happen. What's a vision for that program? How do we serve more tourism based businesses who use the river in Madison County? So yes, sir, I am working with them. I do work with my colleagues who are in the area of soil preservation, and we're looking right now at some AmeriCorps opportunities to get some interns to help with these projects specifically. So yes, I do. I just haven't reported on those because they're not related to the Economic Development Board. But maybe I need to do an environmental presentation to kind of pull together all the things that I'm doing on environmental and to protect and preserve the environment within Madison County, as well as who are the partners, again, to move those issues forward.
And that Rotary International just announced environmental being a new avenue of service. So we are super excited about that, and it's on everyone's radar. And okay, we're going to go to Sebastian, then Patricia, and then I think we're already at 8:22, so we probably will need to wrap it up at that point. So Sebastian.
Yeah, so you mentioned some of the grant money coming from the Appalachian Regional Commission and the EPA. I was just wondering if you could you mentioned a bunch of other grants besides those. I'm wondering if you could fill that out and let us know where all this wonderful funding is coming from. Is it all federal? What are the agencies? Are there any nonprofits? What does the money pipeline look like?
So we are partnering with entities to do a variety of grants. And so as I did talk about, and you did mention, Appalachian Regional Commission has supported several of the projects related to broadband and infrastructure improvements within Madison County, or was supportive of those efforts. The Appalachian Regional Commission is they focus on 13 states in the country, and for Western North Carolina, we're one of the areas that can apply for their funding services. And so they have funded the Wi-Fi project in Marshall, Mars Hill, and they've helped French Broad EMC get support in order to do broadband expansion. And so they also have provided the town of Mars Hill with infrastructure dollars, and they were supportive the initial phase of the town of Marshall having expansion of sewer services along Highway 213. And so I think that those are major funders, and the Environmental Protection Agency, again, is looking at an assessment that will be in Hot Springs area of Madison County. And the GREAT Grant program is a North Carolina-based program that really focuses on the expansion of broadband. And so that was announced for French Broad EMC. It says Buncombe County, but there are some parts of it's southern western parts of Madison County included that area as well. And so those are the areas that we've looked at. And then the Glass Foundation did support the Laurel community with their expansion. So we do look for funding. We continue to look for sources, and we look at partners who we can work with on those grants.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And since a lot of the questions, I'll get to you, Patricia, in a second. A lot of the questions are about broadband and a lot of Terry's presentation. I want to let everyone know that next week's program, which is our evening program, it will feature Commissioner Wechtel and Nathan Huff of French Broad Electric, who will talk about broadband. So we're going to get a little more information, detailed information that'll tie in very nicely with what Terry's telling us today. Patricia?
Yes, thank you. Are there any plans to work on public transportation between here and Asheville mostly?
So that's a different department, and we do have a new transit director within the county, and so that's another department who does work on that those transportation issues.
What's in his name?
Is that Daniel Metcalf?
Yes.
Daniel Metcalf.
Daniel
Yes.
Metcalf?
Metcalf, and he used to be one of the school principals, I believe. So, all right. All right. Well, we're going to take it off of recording. I've got my sergeant at arms here, and we're going to say thank you again to Terry for taking the time. She had a busy day yesterday. There was a scouting film crew in Marshall, and I kept saying, hey, I don't have your bio. I don't have, so I was feeling like I was being very neurotic about it, but I was getting a little nervous because I wanted to be able to properly introduce her and be ready for today. So it might be down here
No,
where
it's
you
up
say
here.
stop.
There we go.